getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you started your business, who you're doing it for, and how you help them. We help people with the nuts and bolts pieces of their business, turn your dream, your spark of an idea into reality. All right, welcome to Vision to Success. This is where we talk about all things that are business related in Las Vegas, how to start your own business, how to grow your business, how to succeed at your business, or even if you're just thinking about starting a business, and learning from our great guests about the struggles that they've had in business, how they face those challenges, and how you can learn from them, learn from us, so that you don't have to learn things the hard way like we did. So I'm here with my host, Maria.
Yes, welcome to our show, Vision to Success. And you want to introduce our guest today?
I will. I'm Jason LeDuc from Evil Genius Leadership Consultants, and today we have on my good friend, Chris Gabriel. Chris, why don't you tell us who you're with and what you're working on these days?
I am with a company called Human Interests. We specialize in doing 401ks for small to mid-sized businesses.
Excellent. And the reason we wanted to bring Chris on, if you watched our last episode, we had Ben on, and he was telling us about all the different kinds of benefits that employers can offer, and how employers can really set themselves up for success, because it's getting so hard to hire right now. And that was even 2 weeks ago, and things have changed quite a bit in the last 2 weeks. So Chris, you're out there, you're working with startups that are growing, you're working with other companies. What are you seeing, and what are the challenges that our employers are facing at the end of June 2021 in hiring and bringing people on?
So it's funny that, like you mentioned, the struggles of hiring. Yesterday, I actually had a client reach out to me. He is having trouble retaining and attracting client right now. He opened up in November last year. And right now, he said that the job market is just so tough, so he's not unable to hire. So he's trying to put together an affordable benefit solution for them.
Okay.
So he's actually speaking with us to have 401k be a part of that benefit plan. There's tax credits that you can kind of take advantage of being a small business, and you're taking basically 401k for the first time ever. So that's a great conversation, that you can have with one of our account executives. And just not just besides him, I've had other inquiries as well when it comes to just retaining and attracting employees right now. And I think offering a benefits package makes quite a difference.
Yeah, and that was, we talked about certain kinds of benefits, and we talked a little bit about doing some things on the HR side to improve retention, both when you start to, when you go back all the way to onboarding employees, what are things you can do at the beginning of onboarding to help retain them later on, but what are the little things you do along the way? We talked about that on the HR side, and then the kinds of benefits that Ben knows about. I'm curious, because we did talk a little bit about retention from the HR side, but we didn't really talk about retention. We talked about benefits more as a hiring incentive. And what are you learning from the people you're working with? What kind of challenges are they facing with retention that they feel like they might need to offer a plan like this, or to make some kind of change to improve retention?
They definitely do need to make change right now. A lot of people, I think, during the pandemic, they kind of sat down and kind of like reviewed what their life looked like, right? So they kind of saw, like, where do I want to be? And a lot of people have decided that they want to go with a job that offers them more than just the pay itself. They want to have the benefits package. And those are things that are going to basically lure the good employees for you right now. So it is a great idea to offer the medical benefits if you can. If not, 401k is it's a second most sought after benefit after medical. And it's very affordable, that a lot of people kind of think that it's not affordable, but it definitely is.
And I think one that is, I didn't know those statistics, that 401k is the second most sought after benefit after health insurance, and I'm sure that is the idea of health insurance and health benefits has been reinforced after the pandemic, during and after the pandemic. People who may not have worried a lot about health benefits and health insurance in the past are now thinking about that, just because we all went through so much over the last year. So what are some of the advantages of offering a 401k as opposed to health benefits?
I mean, a lot of people, of course, seek the medical benefits, but it does get pricey for companies. So for smaller companies especially, a 401k is a lot more affordable, I would say. And the other part to that is if they came from larger companies or other companies that have a 401k already, they want to put their money somewhere. So they're looking for that benefit in the next one, regardless.
So I think that's a really important thing to consider if you are looking for looking to hire, and you're looking to hire people who already come with a set of skills who are. If you're not looking for entry level folks, those are folks who may already have a 401k, and they don't want to stop their own contribution to it or any kind of matching contribution that might come from an employer. So that's something that people who are, even if they're looking to make a move from their current place of employment, their current job, that 401k becomes something that is in their mix. Am I willing to move to a new company if I have to kind of abandon my retirement contributions for a few years?
Yes. And people do consider that, and especially the people that realize how important 401k was during the pandemic, because a lot of people lived off of it. So during the pandemic, the amount of loans in 401ks increased so much because that's where they needed, if their partner lost their job or they had emergencies, medical emergencies or anything like that, they took a loan from their 401k. That was their saving grace during the pandemic. And I think through the pandemic, people have realized how much they really need to save for the future.
Okay.
So it's definitely a big piece. The 401k has become a lot more popular. We had, for human interest itself, we had like such a massive growth during the pandemic because of the people that changed their mindset of like basically realizing how important it is to have one in place.
And
Do you think that the pandemic actually take place like, because you can only borrow from your 401k for emergency purposes? Do you think they put a pandemic, the COVID-19 as an emergency?
They did put some, I don't know the details to it. I know they did work out some where you can draw for, certain reasons
Yes.
for hardships. I don't have the details on that, but it is something that a lot of people did during the pandemic. It's because that's easily accessible,
So
right?
they probably did give a leeway on that, right?
For the tax purposes, but for us, like you can borrow up to what usually what it is 50% of what you have in there.
Yeah,
you can borrow against
but
your
then,
own.
I know that, but then what I'm trying to ask you is, because one of the emergency purposes, it's really, really hard because you gotta have to prove that you are do this and that. So that's my question was, is the COVID-19, if you don't know, it's okay. If it's the COVID-19, if is the 401k put the COVID-19 as an emergency purposes
To actually draw the money, right?
Yes,
Not
yeah.
borrow against
Yeah,
it.
do you know?
I'm
or
not too sure on that
Okay,
one.
gotcha.
Yeah, because the actual draw is separate from people actually taking out loans from it. I'm not too sure which. I know they did have certain leeways to where the taxation is going to be a
Yeah.
little bit different than the penalties. So it's, I mean,
I think that's a good question. Actually, I gotta have to research
Yeah,
on that because
yeah.
that's a good. I have some money on the 401k, but I'm not hurting right now. But maybe it's a
case.
good thing. Good thing to know. You know
yes.
what I mean? Yeah.
one of the things I'm realizing, we dove right into some of the technical details on this, and we didn't talk about, and I think a lot of our audience understands what a 401k is already, but what is a 401k? Let's get real basic in this in case there's some folks watching who maybe they've always been entrepreneurs, maybe they kind of know what a 401k is, but maybe they haven't had their own 401k, and maybe they haven't contributed to one. And part of what we're going to talk about is why, as an entrepreneur, even if you're not hiring, you might want to look into a 401k for yourself. So let's start with the basics. What is a 401k?
It is a retirement plan for yourself. Usually it is employer sponsored, so for your employer will provide that plan for you to basically each paycheck you will be able to give money towards that, and it is selected into certain funds depending on what's chosen for that, and through time your money grows in there, so that when you're ready to retire, that compound interest through all those years, you have that extra money for you to have, when you are ready to retire and you're not depending on Social Security, because especially now when you don't know where Social Security will be in 20 years or whatnot. So
Yep. It's a really good benefit on your workplace to have.
it definitely is.
Yeah, so it's basically a retirement plan that your employer basically through the buying power of their company, because companies that have employees can go negotiate good deals, right?
Yes, yeah.
So basically, because the financial companies that create these plans, they work with companies to create these retirement plans. It's a win-win situation for them. And you typically, as an employee, have a contribution that you put in every month, and then depending on your employer, they might match some or all of what you put in every month. So now with what are you seeing? Are employers still doing a lot of matching, or are they just offering the benefit, the plan?
It varies. We've had a lot that does the profit sharing. Obviously that helps the participation rates go up for your 401ks. And then it also helps, of course, retain employees, because if they're having that profit sharing, they feel like they're important to the company. But not every business has to, right? And it's just a benefit that they can offer to know that, hey, employee, I care about you. I care about you enough to know that you can utilize this benefit to save for your retirement, because that's important for the employee to feel that, right? So that you actually care not just for them right now, but for their future.
Right. That you as an employer, that an employer is putting that out there, is putting out, hey, we're invested in your future because we want you to stay with us.
Yes. That's big, right? Like, and that's how you're going to retain your key employees, how you're going to attract your employees. That's all a big part of your culture there.
So going back, let's again, like, sticking with the basics. And we talked about if you're looking to hire or you're looking to retain employees, a 401 is a great tool. And before we get into the nuts and bolts of how you might go get that set up, why is it an advantage for an entrepreneur who's just starting their business, or who's always going to be a solopreneur when it's just them? What's the advantage? What should they consider, or why should they consider setting up a 401k, even if it's just for themselves, before they've hired anyone into their business?
Yeah, a 401k you could set up solo, and it's great because you're going to be able to put more money before taxes into there. So it'll save a lot of you for, like, tax returns wise and everything. It's a big tax benefit for them. So a tax break, and especially when you set up solo 401ks, and there's certain ways that they can basically like create your plan basically to where it will benefit you a lot. For tax return purposes. So it's a good conversation to have. A lot of people compare it to the IRAs, but of course with 401ks there's a lot of different benefits to it. Yeah. So it's definitely a good conversation to at least have.
But the IRA is actually separate from 401k.
Correct, yeah.
401k is with your employer, and IRA is without an employer.
Yeah, so. And then a lot of people think that if you're just a solo person that has a business, that you can't do like a 401k, but you can. You can do it by yourself and have that, and you can actually put away more money. So there's a lot of pros to that.
When you are in business, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you can set you're limited in what you can put aside in an IRA every year, and I think it's around $5,000 right now. I'm not sure what it is lately, but with a 401k, you don't necessarily have those same limitations.
No, right? You have a little bit more leeway, and there's certain structures that you can put in place that really benefits you as the owner.
Okay.
Nice. That's I don't know that.
It's good. It's
that's
good to know.
Good information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and one of the things that you and I have talked about is that you can set this up for yourself, and then with very minimal effort, if you decide you are going to hire, how does an entrepreneur think about that? What should they be thinking about if they know it's just them right now, but this might be a benefit they want to offer in the future?
Oh, that's easy. For us, it's just adding employees, and we help them out with actually, seeing when they want their employees to be eligible for the benefits. Okay. So we work with them, and it's once you're signed up individually for your business, adding employees, very easy to do.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we take a break? We'll go to a commercial here for a second and for a few minutes. And what I want to do, because we've talked about 401ks and benefits in general, but when we come back, I want to talk with you about Human Interest, the story of that company, how you got involved, and then what Human Interest is doing in this arena and how they're doing things different and in a lot of ways better than other companies that are offering 401ks. So let's take a break. Don't go anywhere. Come back, because we're going to get into what Human Interest is doing and why you want to talk to them about your 401k. getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you started your business, who you're doing it for, and how you help them. We help people with the nuts and bolts pieces of their business, turn your dream, your spark of an idea into reality. Getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you started your business, who you're doing it for, and how you help them. We help people with the nuts and bolts pieces of their business, turn your dream, your spark of an idea into reality. Getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to... All right, welcome back. We are here at Vision Success. We have our guest Chris Gabriel here, and we were talking kind of generically about 401ks and why, as a business owner, whether you're having trouble recruiting and retaining your employees or not, it's a benefit you might want to think about offering as a hiring incentive or as a retention tool for your company, especially because the labor market is so tight. And it's something you may think about instead of offering hiring bonuses or increasing your hourly wage or increasing salaries. And Chris, I don't know if you can talk about some of the pros and cons of that. We had hoped to have an accountant on here today, and because it's 4th of July week, it's been a little hard to find someone who could come on the show. So do you have any insight that you could share with us about kind of the pros and cons of offering a 401k versus you spending cash on a hiring bonus or increasing salaries or wages for employees?
Yeah, I mean, it just varies from business to business, but I would say that offering the benefits, right, you're going to attract the people that, the employees that want to stay with you for longer, because those benefits packages means a lot to them, right? And I think that's a big piece. A lot of people, I was reading articles upon people when they're looking for a new job now, they care about all those extras. Not necessarily do they care about just a simple hourly wage, they care about all the other pieces that come with it. And I think when people actually, if they've never had a 401k before, if they actually just sat down and had that conversation of why a 401k is such an important benefit piece, it's their money to grow, right? Throughout the time. And this is something that helps them as an employee even save on their own taxes, because these are, it doesn't get taxed during that time. So it's a great benefit to have. If people aren't familiar with it, it's a great explanation to basically spend a little bit of time and explain it to them a little bit, because I think, it's something that is worth a lot to them in the future. Of course, they don't see it just like your wages right now, but for the future, it's worth a lot more for them to actually have it, and something that they can give to, especially if you can have the ability to profit share. I mean, how happy would all your employees be if they knew that that they were working day in, day out, working for your company, making it succeed, and that they were getting a part of that profit back to them? I mean, that means the world to them.
Are you seeing a lot of companies, in addition to the 401k contributions, you seeing them do a lot of profit sharing through that as well?
Yes, yeah. And I think that's where the companies are at now, is really just sharing that, that basically wealth with the employees, because it makes the employees really feel good about what they're doing each day at the job.
So there's layers and layers of advantages here for either operating a 401k for your own company, or being an employee who participates in a 401k.
Yeah.
Because the company gets a benefit, and even though they might be sharing the profits
Mm-hmm.
in the 401k, they might actually end up with a better bottom line because of the way
Yes.
the
Mm-hmm.
taxes work for a business. And then as an employee, you're doing better on your taxes. You may actually end up with more take-home cash in your pocket at the end of the year.
At the end of the year,
Because,
yes.
maybe not in each paycheck, but at the end of the year, you may end up with a little more cash in your pocket. And I think the piece that we really haven't, we talked a lot about the financial piece, but if you're offering this as a benefit, there's a good chance you're going to attract employees who are thinking long term.
Yes.
They're not just thinking about how much cash is in my pocket at the end of the day or end of the week or the end of 2 weeks or the end of the month. They're thinking about what is that, how am I growing for my future? And if you're in a business where you need people who are thinking about what is the big picture of the company, how does my role as the employee fit into the company, how does what I do contribute to the big picture and the strategy of the company? If you have this tool to offer, it kind of helps you screen a little bit in your hiring.
Yes.
If people are interested in thinking about their own future, they're probably interested in thinking about the company's future as well.
That is correct. Yeah, and I think that's the people you want to attract, right? Because we know how much it costs when an employee how much it costs to hire an employee, train an employee, and then them to leave. It costs the company so much money. So what you want to do is make sure that you hire right from the beginning.
Yeah, and especially right now with the labor market. So, I mean, we saw this before the pandemic.
Yes.
We're seeing it now as we're coming out of the pandemic, and I think we're going to be seeing it for another year or two. A very tight labor market where companies are going to start to get into these bidding wars to try to. They're going to be poaching people from other companies.
Oh, they have to.
They absolutely will be, but they will have to, or else they won't have anybody because, like we said, you can't always hire at the entry level.
No, not at all. It's going to be a tough labor market for the foreseeable future,
Yeah.
I think. And you really have to be able to, number one, put a benefits package together to really attract those good employees, because you want the people that are going to do well for your company and the ones that's actually going to stay with you. So you don't have that, you're not spending constantly on having to hire.
And that's hard to do on your own. Putting that package together is hard to do on your own.
It is.
So tell us about Human Interest. Tell us about how Human Interest got started, how you got involved with them, and then tell us how Human Interest helps employers put these packages. You're not just selling a product and washing your hands.
Not at all.
How do you help them put together the right package for what they're doing? So go all the way back to the beginning and tell us about Human Interest and how you got involved, and then we'll talk about how you help businesses.
So, I mean, prior to Human Interest, I was in the payroll world, and I kind of saw there that there's been this kind of like separation, right, of like all these large companies that offer the 401k and all the small to mid-sized businesses didn't. And a lot of them were like, it's because, a lot of them thought they couldn't afford it, or it's just a benefit that only big companies basically offer. Human Interest was created to help and specialize in that small to mid-sized business space. I mean, the interesting story of how Human Interest even came about. So in 2015, Roger and Paul, they're the co-founders basically of Human Interest. They had their own other startup. And when they were looking for a 401k solution for their startup business, they realized how cumbersome the process was, how many months it's going to take just to start up a 401k, how much admin time. So what they did was they created Human Interest to basically make it as easy and simple for businesses to start a 401k and really specialize in that small to mid-sized business space to basically solve the retirement issues in America. And that's, and I wanted to be a part of that. So when I learned of Human Interest and they reached out to me, I knew that I wanted to be a part of it just because I want to help people out, people save for their future, right? Because like I mentioned earlier, that we don't know where Social Security is going to be, in 20 years, 30 years or whatnot, and we can't depend on that. So it's really up to you to make sure that you save for your retirement prior to that. And 401k is one of the best vehicles to do so.
Now you brought up something really important, is that Human Interest is focused on that small to mid-sized business space. And I don't remember the exact statistic, but small to mid-sized, maybe so if you know the number, shout it out. Small to mid-sized businesses are like 80% of the employers in the United States.
I believe so.
It's something like that, right?
It is.
So if I don't have the number right, that's okay. You guys go look it up and find out for yourselves. That's okay. But I mean, small business and small to mid-sized business, and I think the technical definition is like something like less than $2 billion in revenue or something is still small business. But at the end of the day, I saw these statistics. 85% of businesses, if I remember right, I should have looked at this again before I came over here today. 80 to 85% of businesses have 100 or fewer employees in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of small to mid-sized businesses are basic, like you said, the majority of it, right? And all these small to mid-sized businesses, a lot of them do not have a 401k or don't offer the 401k currently, and it's such an important piece to have. And you know, just being a part of that solution for the retirement crisis here in America, that's the reason why I wanted to be a part of Human Interest, because Human Interest actually takes interest in humans and making sure they're set up for that.
It's a good thing that's what they made their name then.
Yes,
So,
it is. And they really fulfill that.
It's a perfect brand.
It is a perfect brand, and they really are just focused on making sure that these, you know, small to mid-sized business owners have this, they can provide the solution. Number one, we make it very affordable. Transparent pricing, right? And I think that's one of the biggest things that Human Interest wins on. On our website is our actual pricing, so you can actually see it on there. So you're not like wondering as a small to mid-sized business owner, like how much do I budget? And then there's all these other fees and that's tacked on, and then you don't know what your actual cost is. But for us, it's all about transparency. So our numbers are actually on the website. You can look it up. And we just try to make it as simple as possible. I mean, we integrate with 60 plus payroll companies currently. I think even maybe 70 plus now, but we make the admin side easy. We are the TPA record keeper, so fully bundled solutions. So as a business owner, you don't have to worry about anything when it comes to your 401k.
So is your company actually setting up the 401k of the company? That's how you do it?
Yes, we do everything from the beginning to end. So we basically help them through it. We'll consult with them about the plan. We'll do the, you know, plan design with them. Certain depending on which package that they pick, majority of the time we do file the 5500 for them. We are their fiduciary, where we take liability. So it's like, as a business owner, it's like peace of mind. You don't have to worry about anything when it comes to their 401k.
What I really like, and this comes from you telling the story a little bit, and your founders came from a tech startup background prior to this, and you see those elements of the tech startup world very much in how they're doing business. Full customer service. We fill out the paperwork for you. We gather the information. We do the hard stuff for you. Transparent pricing. These are all things that have come really in the last 20 years with the tech revolution, where people wanted to start to be able to do things online, and really have accelerated in the last 8 to 10 years with these ideas of transparent pricing, because people want to know, what am I going to get in for before I even sit down with someone like Chris? Because you're their entry into the company, right? The first time someone wants to have this conversation, they're going to have a conversation with you. But we all, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we all want to do our homework. We want to get an idea of what we're getting into before we call you and have you come have coffee with us or breakfast with us or whatever. Because we don't want to waste your time. We don't want to waste our time if we know it's out of our budget, right?
Yep.
So I see lots of really great things, because the finance world wasn't always that transparent. And if you're working with some of the established companies, my experience is it still kind of isn't. What's your experience with that?
We are the first company to do zero transaction fees. So meaning, like, for example, during the pandemic, people were taking loans out. There's all these other fees associated with it. We do not charge those. So you can actually look at the fees that we don't charge. I actually just made a LinkedIn post recently where, it kind of tells you what are the most common charges that they do for, the transaction fees, and how, like, you save money by being with us, and you don't have to worry about all those nickeling and diming of things.
Yeah, and there's that is for good or for bad, that's how the financial industry kind of works. I don't know about the rest of the world, but kind of works in this country. So it's really interesting, I think, to watch what are really proven customer service techniques from the tech startup world, expanding out into other more established industries like finance and insurance and those kinds of things. So I'm sure we've got at least one person who's interested in talking to you. So tell us a little bit, what is that first conversation going to be like with a business owner when they sit down with you and say, I'm interested, let's talk?
The first conversation is going to be very just educational, right? And that's the way we like to basically approach any person that we speak with. It's all about just learning about your business and seeing if a 401k would be a right solution for you. We tell you all about the 401k. We'll give you a formal proposal, anything like that. Answer any questions you may have. But everything's just really educational. that's our number one focus, is to just really help people. And that's what I love about and I value about Human Interest, is they really just care for the people and educating them. And if it's, right now is the right time, great. If not, and it's next year, great. We're just here to help and educate you. So, I don't, people shouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, if I talk to them, I have to buy. Don't ever feel that way. We just want to educate people.
Okay, very cool. So before they come and sit down with you, what are some of the things that these business owners should be thinking about? What are some of the questions you might ask them? I'm sure they'd have a lot of questions for you, and you'd be able to answer them. But because your role is going to be to get to know them, and then you're going to kick them over to an account manager, right?
For the account executive, they're usually the ones that have the initial conversation. So for me, I'm the partnership, so I'm in charge of all the partnerships here in town. But, from the account executive side, they'll just get to know their business, how many full-time employees, and kind of see if this is a benefit that would, in what way will it benefit them, right? Will it help retain, attract employees for them? Like how is it going to benefit them as the owner? How is it going to benefit them on the employee side? And, just overall. And I think the standard questions is just seeing where do you want to go with your business? And, questions to ask the actual true business owner is retirement for themselves. That's a lot of the questions that we like to get to know the business owner and seeing what are their plans for their own self. And during the pandemic, a lot of the business owners, if you would ask them prior to, they would say, if you ask them, hey, what's your plan for retirement? They'll always say, oh, I got my business. It makes this much money. It's going to be great.
I'm gonna give it to my kids.
Yep, and that's
I'm gonna leave my business to my kids, and then they're gonna take care of me. And they've never had a conversation with their kids about their kids even want their business, right? So if that's you might want to have a conversation with somebody in your life about if they want to take over your business or not.
And that's the thing, right? The business owners, because it's doing so well, it's like, oh, I don't need to think about retirement. This is my retirement. But after the pandemic hit, I think a lot of business owners were like, oh shoot, I actually have to find a way to save for myself. And 401k was a great way for them to actually have that vehicle for retirement in case no matter what happens with their business.
So some of
wake-up call.
It's a true wake-up call for them.
So some of the things I'm hearing is if you're thinking about this, thinking about talking to someone like Chris, thinking about talking to one of the account executives at Human Interest, is you hear me say on the show all the time, you got to know your numbers, right? So you got to know your numbers today. How's your business doing today? What's your revenue today? How many employees do you have today? How much does that turn into earnings and profit for you? What, your taxes, all that kind of stuff. That's the stuff you need to know. But I think as Chris said, I think you really need to think about what is the plan for your business. What is that growth path that you want to be on? And it's important to think about this because that growth path, you're going to want to, I'm going to try to do this so I reverse. You want that growth path where your revenue is going to go up, but you can't do everything yourself. Your current team may not be able to just scale to that. So you may hit a limiting factor in that curve where you need to start hiring more people. And if you're on a growth path where you're going to need to grow your team, that's the kind of thing. How big am I going to have to grow my team to hit the numbers that I want to hit next year, 2 years, 5 years down the road? So that's what I'm kind of thinking of the things that a business owner, an entrepreneur ought to be thinking about and ready to talk about when they come sit down with you or one of your account executives.
Yes, yeah, they definitely need to think about that. And I mean, we get to at least give them the education piece of the 401k of all this, the standard ways that it benefits a business. But it really is up to the business owner itself to see the value in it and, realize how important this is for them and for their employees.
Yeah, and if you are having a hard time hiring right now, I mean, I think the value of this as an option for you. It may not be the right answer for you, but the value of looking into this an option for your business, especially if you need to grow your team and you need to grow back rapidly now that things are opening back up again. This may be something you want to put into that mix of do I bump up the hourly wage or do I bump up salary? Do I offer a signing bonus? It all depends, but this may be something you want to put into that mix.
It's definitely something to look at, and we want to provide. It's free. Just talk to an account executive, at least get the education piece, and then from there you can make the decision yourself if it is a good fit for you during this time.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have a conversation with someone who's going to take the time to educate you as well. You don't have to know a ton about 401ks to sit down with Chris or an account executive. You just need to know that this is an option you're considering, and you've kind of done a little bit of the math on your numbers to know what you might be willing to invest in terms of dollars in order to, an investment is something that grows your business, right? It's not an expense. We're investing in something, right?
It's a big investment. It's investment in your people, and it's investment in yourself. It's an investment for the future, because who doesn't want to have a lot of money when you retire?
Well, and as your company grows, you're going to start to get, especially if you're working in some kind of knowledge work company, or you're like in a tech startup, or anything where you're dealing in a customer service environment, your employees are going to start putting reviews on things like Glassdoor about what it's like to work at your company, right? It's Glassdoor, if you're not familiar, it's kind of like the Yelp for what it's like to work at a company. So you may, I think people are still using Glassdoor.
We all know,
right?
we look at Glassdoor, right? I mean, I'm guilty of it. I always look at Glassdoor for what people have to say about it.
I didn't, because I've had 2 jobs, the Air Force and running my own business. So I didn't, but I do understand the importance of it. And I know that people, when they are looking and they're considering jobs, they're looking on Glassdoor and other sites.
It's very important. A lot of people really do rely on it to look at, what's the pros and cons. And you don't want to be the company that is, imagine a person, they're choosing from 1 or 2, 2, 3, whatever option, how many options they have, and you don't want to be the one that doesn't offer the 401k when the other companies are offering it. It's just one of those things, because all these other companies are offering it, so don't be the one that doesn't.
So it's just like we talk about in a lot of things, it's important to do your market research and industry research, and if you're losing your people to other companies in your same industry, you might want to take a look at what they're offering in terms of benefits. And this might be, if they're not offering a 401k, this might, 401k might be the right thing for you. Or if they are, it might be the right thing for you. So, all right. Well, I think it's time for another break. Why don't we take another few-minute break here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what's coming up for the future for Human Interest, what's coming up for the future for Chris, and we'll talk about whatever else we feel like talking about. So we'll see you in just a few minutes. Getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you started your business, who you're doing it for, and how you help them. We help people with the nuts and bolts pieces of their business, turn your dream, your spark of an idea into reality. Getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you started your business, who you're doing it for, and how you help them. We help people with the nuts and bolts pieces of their business, turn your dream, your spark of an idea into reality. All right, welcome back to Visions of Success. We have our good friend Chris Gabriel here, Maria's here, and we were talking about the company that she is a part of, Human Interest, and how they have been doing things very differently than a typical, they offer 401ks, they do things very differently than other companies and other banks and the financial industry has done things. So we were talking a little bit about that during the break. So right now, Human Interest is offering 401ks. What's in the future for Human Interest? Well, let me take a step back. Human Interest is everywhere in the United States, right?
It is everywhere in the United States, so we can service anywhere, even Hawaii and Alaska.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's not just here in Las Vegas, not just in the Southwest, not in some weird patchwork of places.
No, we can help anybody anywhere in the U.S.
So, and that's exactly what you're doing, helping businesses offer 401ks when it's the right benefit for them
Correct.
to offer. What else is Human Interest into? What are they thinking about for the future?
Well, I guess the one thing I didn't mention is we also do nonprofits. So if you're a nonprofit that are in need of a retirement plan, we do 403bs as well. I'm not too sure what the plans are for Human Interest. Right now, we're just trying to basically do really well in the space and help out those small to mid-sized businesses really get retirement plans in place, because just in that alone there's so much opportunity out there. So I mean, I think for right now it's really just focusing on being good and being experts at 401ks.
Excellent. I think that's a great place to start. I'm sure, like most startups, they have a plan for world domination, but you gotta lay the groundwork, and you've got to do the initial steps first. You've always got to build the foundation, just like we all always tell you to do with your businesses, is build the foundation, because that's what the future of your business is going to rest on.
Yes, definitely is. And I mean, Human Interest, I would say, is doing a wonderful job of, so far. I think one of the best pieces about Human Interest is they actually listen to the feedback of the clients, the employees. They listen to all of that and really just try to be better each and every single day.
Is that something you can share with us? What is the feedback that you get from the companies that you're serving right now?
I mean, so far, to be honest, we have such great feedback, because I think one of the proudest pieces for us is our participation rates are very high. So the standard across the nation is around in the 30%. For our participation rates for employees on the ones that have Human Interest as a 401k provider, it's a little bit over 70%.
Which is really impressive.
It's impressive. The reason being is, like you said, technology, right? We're very technology forward, and we make it very easy for employees to sign up for a 401k when they are eligible. So it's what we call a 3-click process that you have on there, and it asks you some basic questions and, just to sign up. And then they're all ready to participate in the 401ks. I think in the past, a lot of the participation rate wasn't too high. It's because they made it so hard for employees to actually sign up and contribute to a plan. And that's something that we fixed as a company, and we made sure that we made it as easy as possible. So we're seeing a lot higher of participation in the plans.
So basically, because of the tech advantages that you've put together in the platform,
It's helpful.
is one, you've made it easy for companies to get on board. And by making it easy for companies to get on board and getting all their information in the platform, you've made it super easy for the employees to participate.
That is correct. So, I mean, it's a win-win for all different sides, right? As an employee, it's a great benefit for you to have, very easy for you to use. And as an employer, it's very easy for you to implement a plan and very easy for you to run a plan. And, it doesn't come with surprises or anything like that. You know exactly how much to budget for. Obviously because of the transparent pricing, no transaction fees, and you know what to expect. And, since we hold the fiduciary liability, they don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I have to fill out the form 5500 at the end of the year. Oh no, help, with my accountant to do that. You don't have to worry about any of that, since we are a fully bundled solution.
Now, when it comes to return, as someone who doesn't have a 401k, because I have my military retirement, I have IRAs that I set up long before I was ever in a position to be eligible for a 401k. What are there options for the companies? Are there options for where does their investment go? Does it go into funds? Does it go?
It does go into funds. So
Okay.
Our standard lineup is the Vanguard Admiral funds.
Okay.
If they are currently working with a financial advisor, we are financial advisor friendly. So we are open architecture, meaning that if they have a financial advisor, we can use their fund lineups and they can run the plan through us.
Okay.
So that's a good piece too. But there are funds. We do risk setting funds. So basically, we ask them a series of questions to find out what their risk setting is, to see what the risk tolerance versus target date funds.
Now, is that something you do with the company, and all the company's money is all that investment is the company decides where it goes, or do the employees have choice as well?
The employees. So that's a question.
Okay.
The risk tolerance tests, or the questions, are asked to each and every single employee during that 3-step process to see how much risk are they willing to take, or are they going to go into more, depending on how they answer those questions, it puts them in a fun lineup that fits them.
Okay, so nobody's getting put into a box.
No, not at all.
Whether
No,
it's the
it's
company,
not just one
whether it's
investment.
the employee,
That's it.
right? So
Yeah, they actually cater it to what works for you. So it's robo advising unless you have a financial advisor.
okay, and then if you do have a financial advisor, it sounds like you can. There's an interface between there to put those contributions into the funds that you'd like to be put into, and but you still get all the benefits of working through a 401k instead of just taking money after you've been paid with no tax benefit and putting it into another investment.
Yes. Yeah, so it's a great thing, and the questions that we ask are not your normal questions about like when are you going to retire. It's not all about just the date that you're going to retire, because obviously we know that there's a lot more factors that are more important when determining what your risk setting is.
Yeah, I know when I was in the Air Force, I didn't contribute to thrift savings program, but there were different return levels and risk levels. But I don't think anyone did any kind of risk tolerance assessment with anybody. It was just like, do you want to be in the high growth? Do you want to be in the mid growth? Do you want to be in the really stable one? And I don't know, because I didn't go through it myself, but I don't think anyone did a lot of risk tolerance assessment to say, here's your situation.
Yes.
Right. If you are single, you don't have any plans to make a big life-changing event like a marriage or having kids anytime soon, you might be okay in some higher risk areas whereas if you are married and you've got a couple of kids and every dollar matters to try to make sure that you're providing a good home and a good life to those kids, you might do it in a little bit different way, right?
Yeah, so it just varies, and we do cater that to each and every single person. So as employees become eligible, they'll run through that setup process and answer those series of questions. And, as an employer, if you ever did a demo with us, the account executive will actually go through those questions for you, so you can kind of gain like an understanding over the questions that we ask for that.
All right. Well, we're coming down the end, but what because I know your background. I met you when you were working doing payroll stuff for
sales,
people a few years ago now. What have you learned? What has been eye-opening to you since you started at Human Interest?
How many people don't save for retirement? I think that's just, I knew there was obviously, like issues that needed to be solved here, like the retirement crisis in America, but I never really realized how much of an issue it is, right? Because a lot of people, they start thinking about retirement in their 50s or 60s when there's not much time to actually prepare for it. So you got to think earlier. And that's basically what I want to be a part of, is to influence people to really just think earlier on and plan better for that future, so that when it comes to retirement, that they're comfortable and they get to truly enjoy, their retirement and not have to worry about money.
I think that's such a great point. And I want to emphasize that if you are an entrepreneur starting your business, you can never start thinking about this too early. Just because you have left your corporate job to go into business for yourself doesn't mean you have to give up on your retirement planning. Now, I know for a lot of us, we plan on being such wildly successful and rich entrepreneurs that we don't ever need that 401k. But that's a very risk tolerant attitude, right? So it doesn't mean you have to give up on that.
No, not at all. And it's a good plan to have in place, And as I always tell people, like, you're not going to complain because you have more money for retirement after saving for years and years. You're not going to complain and be like, if you were successful in your business and you still had a 401k in place, you're not going to complain at the end of the day and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I saved, extra money with my 401k.
Yeah, nobody complains when they find that $20 bill that was crumpled up in their jeans pocket in the laundry after they washed it, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to stop thinking about retirement just because you're pursuing a dream of entrepreneurship. You can do both. Now, whether that's the right choice for you or not, that comes down to that level of risk tolerance. That comes down to where you need to put your cash flow for your business. Those are all things that you need to think about. This comes down to, we talked about earlier, knowing your numbers.
Yes.
But if planning for retirement is important to you, you don't have to give that up because you left your corporate job to pursue entrepreneurship. Now you have options, which you didn't really have those options a couple of years ago. So.
Yeah, it's a great option to have. It's great. Like if there is one piece of you that is just curious or just have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help anybody out, and we're more than happy to provide any educational, any education to you. We're here to help.
And I'm sure you guys, as a really what's a tech platform company offering a financial service, which I'm sure gets very complicated in the regulatory
yes.
in the regulatory things, but I'm sure there's a ton of education out on your website as well.
There is.
You can kind of go learn yourself before you talk to somebody.
Yep. Yeah. We just try to make it as easy and simple as it can be for anybody to implement a 401k plan.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. Maria, do you have anything else you want to ask?
I really, it's very interesting and educational, and I'm ready to go to the website, actually. And that's what I want to do next. Onto this is very interesting. Thank you so much, Chris.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Maria.
And I do want to emphasize, because I think we kind of ran past this point quickly earlier. And I was reminded of this when we talked about you coming from a payroll background, is you are fully connected with something like 70 or 80 payroll providers.
Yes, we are. We are fully integrated. We're integrated with them, meaning that the admin piece, because usually, if you have a 401k in place and it is not talking to your payroll system, you have somebody doing that work for you, which causes a lot of time and obviously increase for errors. And because we are friendly with so many payroll providers, we can alleviate that headache for you. So, that's the greatest piece. So even if you have a 401k already, feel free to at least revisit us and see if we could help you at least with your process, and of course to see how you compare with fees.
And it might just come down to the fees, right? But
yes.
What I wanted to emphasize is if you are already working with a payroll
company,
provider,
yes.
a payroll company, a payroll provider for your payroll, for your human resources, for all kinds of other things, this may not be as big a transformation for your outsourced support services than you might think it is, because they're doing that work on their back end for you. They're not going to have you sign a paper and go, oh, by the way, you need to go use this payroll company now.
Yeah,
or
not at all.
You need to go. You guys are trying to make it very flexible and easy.
Correct. We try to make it easy as possible for basically anyone. So, I mean, our goals are very hefty in how many more payroll integrations that we want to have. We're continuously growing that. We want to just be able to help people out and just make it easy for them.
So we talked about small to mid-sized businesses, but who are you really looking to connect with? Who on the other end of that camera right now is someone you really wish would reach out to you and talk to you today?
I would say anybody that just wants to save for retirement. I mean, that's the biggest piece, right? That's who I want to talk to each and every single day, is people that, either come in contact with businesses that want to save for, implement a 401k plan, or if you're just curious yourself and you're a business owner, contact me. I mean, at the end of the day, you can see what you're doing right now works for you, or you may find out that, hey, oh my gosh, that's such a great piece and I need that. So, I mean, it's a win-win for you regardless.
All right. Love that. We love win-win situations here. So how can everyone get a hold of you? How can they find out more about Human Interest? What should they know about reaching out to you?
Yeah, I mean, you can call me, text me. My phone number is 702-738-3000. So yeah, call me, text me anytime. Any questions that you may have, I'm more than happy to help.
And the website is?
Humaninterest.com.
Humaninterest.com. Very easy. So you guys got that one early.
Yeah.
So
we make it as easy as possible. That's our whole thing.
Well, I'm excited. I'm going to go check it out as well. I'm very interested in looking at the tech platform piece of this as well. So I think that's it. I think we're just about out of time. So Chris, thank you for being here today.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
And, Maria, any last thoughts before?
I think, I just want to actually tell our viewers that this is the Vision to Success. We had so much fun doing this, and this is the last show of Vision to Success. And if you guys want to see all the shows that we did in the past, just go back. It's all very educational from the beginning. Well, at least on the third one or fourth one, right?
They're good shows. Yeah, there's some great guests on the shows.
Yes. So thank you so much for all you guys support. You know that we have other 20 different shows in social media shows. We're starting new late shows, and we have so much coming in. That I don't know how I can do this, but I am doing it anyway. And we have cooking shows coming up. socialmediashows.com and just go on every page that we have. We are on all major social media platforms. And thank you so much for supporting Vision to Success.
All right. Thank you for watching. Getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you started your business, who you're doing it for, and how you help them. We help people with the nuts and bolts pieces of their business, turn your dream, your spark of an idea into reality.